Good evening, YouTube. It's 10 to 11 and we've got a problem with this one, is that we can't really review the third show that we went to today. So if you've not been here before, I'm Ian, this is Jane.
Hi.
This is day 9 of our Fringe Odyssey, and at 8 o'clock this evening we were signed up to the Tai Chi and Qigong show, which first of all we had issues about actually where it was, because we both looked and we found different addresses, hadn't we?
Well, it wasn't different addresses in the sense that I didn't have an address, but I looked at the venue where off the Fringe programme, and it definitely had it. You know, the little pin was in a spot at the end of a street, Rankaila Street, off Clark Street, which wasn't too far away. Fine, but Ian had an address which actually it transpired was within sight of the spot that I had.
Yeah, it was, yeah.
But had I been stuck on Rankaila Street and not had another address, I think I would have been lost.
We'd have struggled to find this place.
Even with it just being around the corner, because I didn't have anything else to go on except the venue map.
And actually the street that it's actually on is hidden. It's hidden, and there is, you know, normally at the Edinburgh Fringe you have a big venue sign. Sorry, my phone must be switched on still. I just turn my phone off. You have a big venue sign.
I mean, the fact we knew it was at the Crag Centre.
Yeah.
It turned out that that was a sports centre, which was fine. But anyway, we did locate it, but there could have been an issue if I was just working off the Fringe website, because that's not where the pin was.
So I'm just going to read a little bit of the blurb off the Fringe website. So it's called the Tai Chi and Qigong. So as we said, it's at the Crag Centre, and the whole session is an hour and a half. It says, we will offer a series of Tai Chi and Qigong events to audiences so audiences can take part in the events online and in venue. Now, I was quite happy to just do the online thing because I think it's done by Zoom, but you really fancied doing one in...
I did. I'm the kind of person that
and I get that. Yeah.
I need a tutor, a teacher in front of me showing me how to do things. That's just how I work. Yeah. So it didn't matter which one we did.
So, and it says, we've invited a number of organisations, the top masters from China and the Chinese Health Qigong Association, and then it gives us a load of Chinese organisations and schools. So, I mean, I'd originally think I'd picked this one because I am quite interested, not in Tai Chi particularly, but I have done a little bit of very rudimentary Qigong practice over the years, mainly to a video. So I was quite interested to actually see a Qigong master and actually do so. And it does say that it's audience participation. So when we turned up at the Crag Centre, we couldn't get in. And in fact, we've got a little bit of footage of us trying to get into the place. Not quite sure how we get in. There's nobody there. Like I said, there's no venue number. We spent probably, what, 5-10 minutes trying to get in?
I mean, initially I thought there wasn't anybody there, but then we could hear basketball, or, well, a sport going on on a court, because you could hear it inside the wall. I then did spot a gentleman in an office on his phone. He did appear to see me at one point, but then maybe he didn't. I did buzz, but there was no response, and then I noticed a sign that said "Don't buzz." So we were a bit stuck.
Yeah.
Anyway, I was going to knock on the window, but I was concerned that this gentleman was on his phone. I didn't know whether that was an important thing. Anyway, eventually he sort of turned and he saw me and I waved, and he then came and let us in. We said we were here for Tai Chi, and he indicated that they met in this studio, which was literally across. So we walked and we just sat down in the chair.
He put lights on for us.
I mean, we were early.
We were early. We were about 15 minutes before it was due to start. And then some gentlemen started to arrive. First of all, a chap in motorcycle gear turned up. He then, and another chap, so there's two chaps at first, and then the first gentleman that turned up with the motorcycle gear went off and got changed and came back with a massive sword.
It was in its sheath initially. When he took it out, it was a sabre.
Yeah,
and I have to confess, I felt very, very anxious at that point. Now,
he was a lovely guy,
and because I thought, right, I'm just not going to sit there feeling anxious, because Tai Chi plus sword doesn't equate for me. I wanted this, and this guy had a sword. So I said, look, I am feeling very anxious. And he said, and then told us that the fact that actually swords are, and he did name them all, and I can't remember all the names. And he said that there are sort of demonstrations with them. He then practiced a routine for us, which was fantastic.
It was brilliant. And I actually asked him if I could film it. And what I will do is I will put that right at the end so you can see him doing this routine. But actually that routine had absolutely nothing to do with the session that we were about to...
No. And it transpired because then a few other people... In total, there were 7 of us plus the master, who was the instructor, but he is known as Master. I'm afraid we didn't get his name, but he was referred to as Master. Now, it was just, unless we've got this very wrong, but it wasn't. It was just their ordinary...
Tai Chi session.
Tai Chi night.
They all knew each other, and as the master said at one point, they'd all been practicing this for quite a while, and they were very welcoming. They were very
incredibly welcoming.
My main concerns is we've both got bad backs, and they didn't ask us. Well, they asked us if we'd ever done it before. We said no, we were complete beginners. And I was slightly concerned about my back. I don't know how you felt about yours when you started doing things.
I know what I can and can't do, and so I'm quite, I would have just not done it.
Yeah.
So we started off, I mean, he did make reference to the fact that because there were a couple of beginners in the class, and we went through, it was probably about 50 minutes of a Tai Chi warm-ups, and then leading into the Qigong, which is more of the breathing and lots of flowing movements. And I have to say, it was great.
It was. I mean, I felt, having done a bit of Qigong before, that certainly the first half there wasn't. I didn't feel anything familiar, but there was a couple of movements towards the latter part of the first section that I thought, oh yes, I've done this type of movement before,
Yeah, so it was quite glorious. That sense of us all doing these very slow breathing exercises with the slow movements, and at that point the master had been facing us, but then about halfway through he turned around, so I found it much easier because I was standing behind him to follow his movements, and because obviously the movements are slow, it was fine, and there was no issues with what I could manage. That was fine. I actually found it easier. His right-hand man, who was the guy who did the sword demonstration, he was to the
to our left, and he was in front of me, and I found it much more easier to follow him.
Well, I know, yeah.
So
I mean, it was basically the person in front of you, and it was great. And again, there was reference to the fact that because there were beginners in the class, he was just going to sort of explain a little bit about Tai Chi, which he did. He was then talking about some new research that had been found in America about the discovery of a sort of another system that we have within our bodies, which actually matches that of the ancient Chinese. Now, I think he said meridian lines, but which, I mean, I'm going to find out a little bit more about because I was intrigued by that. But he was obviously absolutely fascinated by the fact that there is some research that has been recently published that states that there is evidence for something that has existed in China for thousands of years. And then he did demonstrated a couple of exercise routines, I think.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, you could describe that.
He did.
Yeah.
And then he did one bit of that. Then he explained that there was, and I'm afraid the terminology, I don't remember.
It was the 80. I mean,
there were so many steps,
different levels. And this was the highest level, which was 80. He only did the first part of it. It was 86 different moves of Tai Chi, I think, is what he.
It was a lot.
And that's, if you like, the highest level. Now, I have to say, and it was quite a good demonstration.
It was well, go on. Well, you said it was quite good.
Well, it was quite good, but I mean, but I mean, I don't know. That wasn't, to be fair, the whole thing wasn't quite what was expected from a Tai Chi and Qigong show, if you know what I mean.
Right. Okay.
I mean, and at that point, we actually started to feel uncomfortable because this is just these guys just normally get together, and they, what they were having to do because we were there, and thank God we were the only people there, because if a whole load of people from the Fringe had turned up, we don't quite know what would have happened.
The studio only took the 8 of us.
Yeah, there was no more room.
And we were the only 2 that had turned up.
Yeah.
So I mean, nobody asked us about a ticket or anything.
Nobody checked the fact that we had a
so that code. Was all a bit weird, really.
And I have to say, I mean, there is a big issue that there are some more of these sessions coming up. These live sessions. I mean, today's the 11th. They're on the 14th, 18th, 21st, 25th, and 28th, and they are not cheap. They are £16.50 per session. And I am not blaming the guys that we saw or the master, but somebody somewhere has missold this as a show, because it's not a show. It's a Tai Chi, just regular session.
I mean, I have to say, I hadn't realised it was advertised, and I mean, it's in the Fringe programme as a show, but I don't think we were expected.
No, we weren't. So nobody had checked that we bought this.
What if 20 tickets had been sold? I mean, the only other available space was like an indoor stadium that was being used
for basketball. Yeah.
For basketball. So what would have happened? It would have been quite interesting. I mean, as it was, I felt. I mean, I hope you noticed my posture is better. I mean, it was fantastic.
It was good, yeah.
I found I got a great deal of benefit from it. But
but it was missold.
But you can understand that our issue.
I mean, and the issue is we can't. Because we actually enjoyed the experience, although we started. I mean, we actually did leave before the end because Jenny. I mean, I hadn't thought of this, and Jenny came up with the idea of saying that clearly what they were going to go back and do. We had a break after he'd done his little demonstration, and you rightly said that maybe we should let them just do what they would normally do. And we could have, I'm sure we could have stayed there, but we actually left. So we left after the last 25 minutes, I think was,
yeah.
you know. So after about an hour and 5 minutes, we then decided to leave. And we thanked them all, and I said they were very welcoming, but we weren't expected. And that we did feel slightly uncomfortable in the fact that these guys, I don't know, you know, they pay regularly to go and do this with this master, and they weren't getting their regular session because of us.
Yeah.
So somebody somewhere messed up as far as, and that's why we feel we can't score it. We can't give it stars.
Oh well, no, we were never going to,
because that's not fair.
No.
Because you know, on one level, it's a 1-star thing, but we can't do that. We can't do that.
We were never ever going to do because it's an exercise. You know,
it's not.
Yeah.
But somebody somewhere has missold this.
But we don't understand what it's doing in the Fringe program.
Anyway.
Because,
so if you're gonna go to one of these future sessions, you know, it's £16.50, and I don't quite know what you do to actually make sure, because it might be at a different venue. Well, it always says the Crag Centre though, so it's always going to be there. I mean, but they're not expecting you.
I mean, obviously, if you're an experienced Tai Chi practitioner, thank you. Yeah, I mean, you've got a ready-made class, but it doesn't say that you can't be a beginner. It just is there.
It's a good point. I had the wrong footwear.
Yeah. Oh yes.
Because we
did ask whether we should take our shoes off,
and actually I would have been better in my shoes, because the exercises that you do around your ankles, I had Doc Martin boots on. They're Doc Martin boots, but they're not the traditional Doc Martin, but they are still boots.
I mean, I had trainers, which, you know, soft trainers, so that was fine. But everybody else changed their footwear into the, you know, these soft sort of plimsoll type things. Yeah. So yeah, that was quite a vision.
It was, yeah,
because they're green.
And I felt, I mean, I felt that was a bit of an issue for me personally, just trying to do the ankle exercises with great big boots on. It just didn't work. I wish I'd taken my shoes off, actually. Yeah. That might have been better. I may be slipping around a bit though, that was all.
But so we just thought we would talk about it because
I think you know, if you're going to go for this, and I mean, it'd be interesting to see how the online ones work. I don't quite know. I'm just going to look up, because, like I said, the face-to-face ones are £16.50, which is, you know, fair enough. The online ones are running most days from tomorrow. There's a few days where they're not, but up to the 29th. They are, I think, done by Zoom, and what happens is that you get the code, the Zoom code straight away, but you don't get the password until you've paid for it. And I'm just going to see how much it actually costs.
And that says it's 50 minutes.
50 minutes, session. Okay. So that is going to cost, so if we pick the 14th, it's £10.
And then there are concessions.
And there are concessions, the usual concessions that for a £6.50 family and £8.50, you know. Now, I mean, I did wonder whether the session that we attended would be filmed. It wasn't, because they wasn't expecting anything. So maybe we'll try and come into one of these sessions just to see what the difference is. It might be held by, it might be done by somebody else. And although this particular master was a nice guy, you know,
this is absolutely no reflection on them,
because they weren't expecting us.
No.
You know, it's just somebody somewhere messed up, and I don't believe it was them, because they literally, you know, they didn't know we were there. Anyway,
but it doesn't match the description. No. Anyway, we've said enough about that.
So, thanks so much for watching. We should just say what we're doing tomorrow. We're back to sort of more normal shows, shall we say?
It's like we like variety.
We do. I mean, that's
what's normal.
We did have a question actually from Michael, which was actually too long to cover in this, and actually I think we're going to do a separate video. He asked us how we pick our shows, so I think that's going to be a completely separate video about how we go through the process of choosing, because he basically said we seem to pick really good shows, which I think we do generally. But
well, yeah.
Well,
oh, that's nice. Yeah.
It's a nice thing to say.
It's a nice thing to say. But
it is more by look than judgment, but there is more to it than that anyway. So, so tomorrow we have got Jane Eyre.
Oh yeah.
With puppets apparently.
Apparently there's some puppetry involved.
12 o'clock. We may go and see Travelogue if we can fit it in. If not, we're doing Adele Cliff in the dark, and we're doing Eric Davison, which is I haven't put the full title down.
Something about jabs.
Thunder jabs.
Thunder jab.
Anyway, that's for tomorrow. Okay, so thanks very much for watching. You know what to do. Good to see you all, and we'll see you tomorrow.
We interrupt our program to bring you this important message.
Hello. Just a little addendum to
Yes.
what we were just about to go to bed, but I was going to go and edit this stuff. So we've looked at the online Tai Chi and Qigong show booking system, and most of the online sessions, of which we know via Zoom, are £10, and then we stumbled across some on 2 particular dates, which are the 22nd and the 18th at 2 p.m. in the afternoon, and they're £25. Now, we can't work out what's different because he doesn't tell us anything more.
Because it's all under the same headline.
So most of them are £10, some are £10.50, there's always the concessions thing. These 2 shows in particular, or these 2 sessions, are 25 quid. And there is one session that is free.
So basically, if you're interested in doing it online, just double check that you're not going for a 25 quid one.
Yeah. I mean, there is a booking fee, even though it's free. There is still a booking fee of £1.25 per ticket, but that's normal.
Yeah.
So you'd be wise to book it with a load of other tickets, because then the maximum you're ever going to pay for booking fee is £5. And we are at a loss as to find out why.
We don't. There's no way to differentiate what content, if the content's different for that price. We don't know.
We are going to look and try and sign up for one of the other sessions, but we're going to wait and do it with a load of other tickets and book it together, just to compare what we experienced to actually what the online is like, really. But we thought it was important to say that now, because anybody interested, there is clearly discrepancies in the booking system.
The mystery continues.
So, to be continued, really. Da da da. Good night. Bye bye. Ha ha ha.